Hello everybody, hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here and we are back with another episode of One Leeds. We're back here to discuss everything Leeds United, a bit of a recap. The morning after, the day before, Leeds United getting a 2-2 draw against Newcastle. We also found out yesterday that Chelsea drew with Nottingham Forest 2-2. And we're here to discuss the relegation running. We're here to discuss everything that could potentially go on and go right and go wrong today. Obviously Everton are playing against Manchester City at 2 o'clock, which is a huge game. And Leeds are like sitting ducks at the minute. It's like we were almost just waiting to see what happens. And big Sam Allardyce was speaking about it after the game yesterday and was essentially just, speaking and discussing on it being a waiting game now. And Leeds, it's not in our hands. And it was in our hands yesterday for a period of time, as it was against Crystal Palace, as it was against Leicester, and we've experienced this so many times this season. It'd be excellent to if you guys knew that the amount of points that we've dropped from winning positions, because I can't imagine how much it is. I really believe it'd be up in the major category in the Premier League. But yeah, Leeds United yesterday. We're going to get into some of your thoughts, of course, but I was saying yesterday several times that I didn't really know how I felt. I was a bit confused. I was a bit like, we've drawn 2-2 against the team who I've watched this season numerous times and have been so impressed with in Newcastle. Strong at the back, resilient, good going forward, great in the transition, good on the counter-attack. All these sort of things that I'll say, come on here and say that Leeds maybe aren't that good at and were good at at one time. And Newcastle are a really good outfit. So for Leeds to restrict them, to see really good performances from individuals like Weston McKennie, who I thought had maybe thrown the towel in at this moment in time. Is it too little too late when it comes to Weston McKennie? There's an argument there, but he was in a little bit more of a free role yesterday. I thought when Forshaw came on, I thought the more depressing thing at the minute is he still looks the most competent midfielder that we have. Christensen at centre-back, I think, looks really good at the minute, which is a big, big positive, because I think when I say he looks really good, I'm not sure he looks really good, but it's probably the best he's looked. And shout out to Sam for that, really, because, we've not really seen Christensen have a proper run at centre-back. So it's great to see him have that exposure. So yeah, there were positives there. Rob Les as well, again, I'm a big fan of him. I know you guys know that I'm a big fan of him as well. So there was a lot of good points yesterday, I thought. I think it's just so annoying that it is at this moment in the season that you see little moments like that. But it did come down to, once again, the same thing that we've experienced several times with Leeds. It is the drop in deep, it's the line of engagement being on the penalty spot, and it's stupid errors. And Sam came out after the game and said, I told them to stay on the feet. What does Verba do? Minutes after Leeds United score, he dives in like an absolute moron. Firpo sticks his arm up when he's marking Alexander Isak. These are just basics in football. And the problem is, this is why I do think Leeds will be relegated from the Premier League. I think we've got too many bozo errors in our side and not enough quality to compensate for the bozo errors. And that's going to be a problem. I think you saw that with Sam yesterday. I think he came out and was really frustrated. And you said, that's a game we should have won. Newcastle weren't on it. I thought, we were easily as good as them yesterday, in my opinion. I think in Sam's opinion, a lot of Leeds fans' opinion as well. But once again, we come out with a point where you kind of needed 3. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think on this Sunday morning. Get it in the comment section below. Listen, if you disagree with me, of course, please get it. Yeah, Dale, sorry about this, mate. I've no idea why I set it for 11 at night. I never come on stream at 11 at night, so yeah, it was 11 a.m. Bamford bottled the season single-handedly. Too many missed opportunities, and we don't get maybe with the squad that we have. I think it's key to talk on this guy because it's been a little bit of a mental 24 hours and week for Patrick Bamford. I was disappointed with Rodrigo, to be honest. If we're discussing Bamford, I always think taking a penalty is very, very brave. I also offer the counter to that of these people are getting paid a lot of money per week, especially in the Premier League. I don't understand why Rodrigo's not grabbing that penalty off him and having an almost argument that we'd have probably seen with Rafinha last season. pressure penalty. I don't understand. Bamford gets the ball and looks like he's the only one who wants to take it. There's not a player within 5 or 10 yards of him. And when I say wants to take it, is willing to take it. There's not a player within 5 to 10 yards of him who is trying to grab the ball off him. Now, that says a lot to me about maybe the characters in the squad. I have no idea why Rodrigo's not going and saying, no, look, I've done this before. I've scored 12, 13 important goals this season for the club. As I said, in penalty situations before, Wolves been the classic example last season. I've done this. Give me the ball and I'm just going to take it. He didn't do that. So that you got to look at Rodrigo a little bit as well. And I know all the blame has been lumped on Bamford. It always was going to be. But, the players must have known, that Paddy's not great in front of goal when it comes to penalties. So why is someone not going and saying, look, I'm taking it? Because I don't think he looked confident. I said this yesterday. I think if someone had come up to him and said, look, I want this penalty, I don't think Bamford would have shied away from giving that person the ball. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because he needed, this is constructive, by the way. We'll get onto the abuse in a minute that he's been siphoned with over the past week by brain dead, moron Leeds fans who, believe it or not, everyone, you see the taglines of these people who are abusing Patrick Bamford. These are the same people, style of people, the no profile accounts, all this sort of stuff, LUFC whoever, these are the same sorts of people who YouTubers, and I'm not comparing at all here, but these are the same people who, even though they're part of our fan base, if they don't agree with an opinion we have, they come for us on social media as well. This is a genuine thing that I experience quite a lot. So it's absolutely horrible, and Bamford would have experienced it no one's telling me to go kill myself after I miss a penalty. So Patrick Bamford is experiencing it on a whole new level. But as someone who, creates content for Leeds United, he's experienced something that is, levels ahead of what I've ever experienced. But you do get abuse by your own fan base for, a football opinion. This is how brain dead some people are. So when Patrick Bamford misses a penalty and then gets abused and gets told to kill himself, it just shows the absolute moronic nature of some of our fan base. It is a minority, but they are out there. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Constructive criticism is fine, but abuse and personal things about his family and him killing himself, he just, it's unbelievable that people resort to that, but it is what it is. Football is only a game. But yeah, overall, we needed a striker to be able to help Patrick Bamford in the January month and contribute, and our recruitment director didn't do that. He didn't do that. So we are in the position we are. But yeah, I do question that a little bit. So yeah, something to definitely consider when it comes to maybe the characters in the squad, allowing Paddy to take that and fair play to him in a way for actually picking the ball up. But we all knew he'd miss. Everyone knew he'd miss. I was literally 90%, 99% sure he'd miss. So it is what it is, isn't it? Morning all. Morning Niall. Everton fan here. Hi Ethan. Still bricking it for later, hoping there's a world where we both stay up. Yeah, I still think it's going to be tough for us, mate, with the fixtures that you've got left, to be honest. West Ham are on the beach, plus they play today, Thursday, before you go to tired legs. Morning, Connie, you look like an action man. People are so bothered about appearance, aren't they? And it's always you guys. You love the appearances or you hate the appearances. It's very interesting. Morning, Connor. Says Tashin, I don't think a point was enough yesterday, considering Newcastle didn't do much. We were our own downfall yet again. Yeah, I can't disagree with you, Tashin. I think we've touched on that. Alex O'Neill says, fair enough, Bamford has missed some big opportunities and deserves some stick, but the abuse him and his wife has been getting is disgusting. Honestly, mate, they're absolute morons. Rodrigo, thanks for the super chat. If there was a proper leader on the pitch, he would have took that ball off Bamford and gave it to Rodrigo. No bottle for anyone and any player to do that. Thank you so much, Rodrigo, by the way. And also, what you got to consider with that is, that's what I was saying about Rodrigo. Why is he not going and grabbing the ball? That's what I don't understand. This is a guy who has scored a lot for Leeds United, and as I've mentioned several times, is good in these pressure cooker situations. Why is he not grabbing the ball off Bamford? Bamford, to be fair to him, who else was having it? Because nobody else was stepping up in that situation. That's what I was talking about at the start with characters, leaders. That all comes into it. Hi from Thailand. Hi. Seth, how you doing, mate? Your core is on the table, but yeah. Yeah. But Orta got a water. Yeah. Jamie says it's just stupidity. We all love Leeds, but there is no need to get personal. I do believe Bamford needs to go as a number of others. A big rebuild needed. Trust. Do you say you trust Rads? Don't trust Rads. Yeah, that makes more sense. Matt Scales says I was shocked Rodrigo didn't do that. As I saw. He had the ball but didn't look confident. I really wanted to score to stick to the online bullies. He hasn't, but that's it. And I think that's it, isn't it? It's, everyone wanted him to score. I mean, what a moment that would have been for Bamford. What a moment. The problem is he's having huge moments to put Leeds back in the game. And unfortunately, guys, if Leeds are in the Championship next season, I'm not solely blaming Patrick Bamford because that would be brain dead. And Bamford has been really good at points this season, and you guys might not agree with that, but I think in certain games where he's just been the sole reliant to hold the ball up and be that guy, I think he has been good. The problem is he's not ruthless, he's not clinical. I mean, there's 2 strikers on the pitch yesterday, 3 strikers. Alexander Isak, who's just, in my opinion, he's world class, or he will be world class. I think he's fantastic. Callum Wilson and Patrick Bamford. Callum Wilson is on a different level to Patrick Bamford, a different level in terms of ruthlessness. You look at the cockiness and the arrogance and the swagger he had stepping up to take those penalties. That is a guy who doesn't care about the crowd, doesn't care about the pressure cooker situations. He just performs all the time. And he's an assassin in front of goal, is Callum Wilson. And I've always been a massive fan of him. We just don't have that. I believe if Leeds United had a bang average striker who could put the ball in the back of the net, bang average, Leeds would be 10th, 11th, 12th. I honestly believe that. A dependable, reliable, bang average Premier League striker, Leeds United would be mid-table comfortably. And that's where the board, and that's probably where Rads at the start of the season says we're going to finish 10th to 14th. The problem was no one invested in a striker. We didn't invest. I mean, you're still looking at Rutter on the bench for 35 million and you staggered. That's got to be the worst piece of business this season. It's unbelievable. There's clearly a problem there with Rutter, whatever that may be, where if that's stuff going on in training, if that's stuff, I don't know, off the pitch things, but when the guy is literally not touched grass for 3 or 4 games now, and he's 35 million quid, it's staggering. There's a lot of people saying Yukores at Coventry. Well, he's going to be at Wolves or Everton next season if Everton do stay up. There's no chance he'd be at Leeds in the Championship. But I think just this is the issue. There's people saying Mitro as well. I've just seen Josh say Mitro. Mitro's a really good shout. Like strikers like this, but there's a lot of Leeds fans. I mean, look, we can support Patrick Bamford, of course we can. I don't want to make this all about Patrick Bamford, but he's been criticised at the minute. But he's never been that guy, and there's a lot of Leeds fans who are backing him up. I saw a thread this morning. It's like he got 16 goals to help Leeds out of the Championship. You're right, you bang on, but that season he should have got 40 goals. And I'm not, you're not expecting him to get 40 goals, of course you're not, but he should have broken all records that season with the supply that he had behind him and the style of football we were playing and the chances that we were creating. Let's not pretend Patrick Bamford is something that he's not. Let's not change history here. I think there's just a lot of sentiment attached to certain individuals, to be honest with you. Yukores would have tied in many, many chances. Magnus says, yeah, thanks for super chat, mate. And you are right. Literally, I mean, he's missed Patrick Bamford, 14, 15 big chances. I think he's at the top of every statistic at the minute when it comes to expected goals missed. That's massive. You look at the chance right at the end against Leicester, like 4 yards out, maybe even less, 3 yards out, the header. Put that in, Leeds win that game. They do win that game. Yesterday, you put the ball in, it's 2-0. Fulham earlier on in the season, when we're 3-1 down, he's through on goal and he misses a huge chance to put Leeds 2-1 up. Down at Palace, massive chance at Selhurst Park. misses the chance. There's so many chances where it's gonna, there's a potential for it to hurt Leeds at the end of the season. It's difficult. David says, and a better keeper than Melier would not have made us points, drop points. And you're right, David. You're right. And this is the sole thing. Like, it's not, and I'm just saying, it's not all on Patrick Bamford. It's not. But you're a goal scorer. And goal scorers are everything in the Premier League. And I keep hearing this. Oh, well, why is nobody blaming Verber and why is nobody blaming Firpo for yesterday? Because the game is so different if Leeds go 2-0 up. Does Firpo get a red card? Do Leeds get that stretched? Obviously that the chance at the other end doesn't happen with Verber if we go 2-0 up, or maybe it does, but you then it's 2-1. The game state is completely different if we are 2-0 up. And the blame from a lot of fans is because this isn't just one occurrence. He's at the top when it comes to big chances missed for minutes played. That is massive. That is absolutely massive. And is that a contributor to where Leeds United are in the table? It's a massive contributor. So one isolated incident of Verber having a particularly poor game yesterday doesn't match up to Patrick Bamford missing the amount of big chances he's missed. Brentford earlier on in the season when he blocks it on the line to make it 2-2, I believe it was. Massive, massive moments. Penalty missed against Arsenal, another one, So, but then, I personally don't believe it's all his fault, but it's a big contributor when you're a goal scorer. It is, and I'd be saying the exact same, and I would say the exact same about someone like Neil Maupay, who is absolute trash at Everton, but he doesn't get the minutes and the opportunities and the chances that Patrick Bamford's had. He's another, and I'm not saying Patrick Bamford's trash. I'm just saying he's not good enough for Premier League level. He's not. He's nowhere near good enough. Bamford compared to his XG is -4.6, so he's underperformed by basically 4 goals. With that 4 goals, would be absolutely massive with the predicament that Leeds are in right now. And Louis, there are a lot of big moments that XG doesn't also record. I know I've just mentioned that, but you look at the penalties missed this season. You look at the missed. 4 goals could be equivalent to 9 points. I literally just look at the Leicester chance when he's 2 yards out. The chance yesterday, the chance against Arsenal, the penalty miss. And I know we can do this for Rodrigo as well, but you've got more credit in the bank when you've scored, 11, 12 goals this season. You have. Maupay is shocking. Sorry, Russell. That is what I'm saying. He's tragic. David says, if Cine had been fit for 3/4 of the season, then our season would have been looked quite different. Goals, scoring chances would have been more abundant. Yeah, David, he's been training by himself for months and months and months. And it is a well-known fact at Leeds. The players acknowledge that Sinisterra is the best player there. I can tell you that for a fact. But he's never fit. But if you're training by yourself for months, which he does, the guy, everyone knows how good he is. But and I think if we do go to the Championship, there is an actual scenario where Leeds keep hold of Sinisterra, believe it or not, for at least the season. You've seen absolutely quality players go down to the Championship. Then if the team doesn't go straight back up, the player gets sold. But Sinisterra hasn't been fit enough for a team to just come in and just go, yeah, right, we'll slap 20 million down or we'll slap 15 million down. He's not been fit enough. Look at the games played, but then you do look at the goals scored by Sinisterra to the amount of minutes he's played. So yeah, exactly like David said, you can say, if Robles was in for 20 more games, Leeds would have saved 8 more points, which is a worthwhile argument. If you'd have said, we'd have brought a striker in January, would have been 7 points better off. There are all these circumstances which you can apply, these hypothetical scenarios that you can apply to Leeds United. I just think Patrick Bamford at the minute is the more obvious one. Do we stick with Allardyce if we go down? Absolutely not, mate. Not for me. Connor's in the building. Hi, Cole. Connor, assuming we are in the Championship with a big wage bill, who's our new manager and who is staying going? Colin, what a question, my friend. That's a video in itself, isn't it? New manager. I'd love to attract someone like Knutson. I don't think that would happen in the Championship if we were to go down. If, by the way, everyone, don't get upset. If we were to go down, I just want a manager who wants to play football. That's what I want. I want Leeds to get the ball on the floor, and it doesn't have to be Bielsa ball, but I just want us to be able to pass the ball. We are. I honestly think if we're playing this style of football with this set of players, we would struggle in the Championship. I honestly believe that. Our ball retention is so bad. How poor we are in possession, and also I just don't think they look fit enough. And I think that's a well-known thing, probably inside Leeds as well. That they're not fit. They're nowhere near as fit as they used to be. And I really struggle to watch how bad they are in possession at the minute. And I think that's because we transitioned away from Bielsa into essentially three managers who don't want the ball. So I don't blame the players for that wholly. It's just an absolute dense way of going about recruiting new managers. So I'd love to transition back to a manager who likes to play football and just, if we had a little bit more possession, Cole, that would be nice. And maybe, because believe it or not, with possession, you can dictate a football game. And it also means that the opposition doesn't have the ball as much, which means that they're not going to be able to curate chances as much. So all in all, it helps mitigate everything, really. But yeah, we transitioned away from that, which I think was a completely bone idle. But it is what it is. So yeah, mate, any manager who likes to play possession-based football and is classified as a progressive coach would be good for me. Would be good for me. How do you miss a pen and at one end and give two sloppy pens away at your end? That is Leeds United in a nutshell. If you were to encapsulate, other clubs say, that's Everton that, or that's West Ham that, or that's Wolves that. We all know as Leeds fans that is the most Leeds thing to happen in 2 minutes for it all. So we've seen it happen like numerous times this season. Look at Crystal Palace. Look at Crystal Palace, how it all just turned on one goal. And it seems like we've had so many of these awful moments. Big Sam got West Ham back up. He did Russell, but I'd love to see a squad comparison there between Leeds going down and what West Ham's squad was going down. Brennan Rodgers, if we're in the Championship, that's not going to happen, mate, unfortunately. Morning, Mr. Foden. Hello, Mr. Moore. Postecoglou, if you want the ball on the deck going forward, possession-based football, great coach. Attractive football, great record. Yeah, Postecoglou, I was a massive fan of. I wanted him to come in, to be honest, a while ago. When he just started at Celtic, he was making a lot of noise. I think his assistant manager might cause a few upsets at Leeds United, though, to be honest. But yeah, Postecoglou, I don't think he'd come to Leeds in the Championship. Remember, that was the question. It was, who would you get if you went to the Championship? Look, quite a few Everton fans in the building. Everton fan here. I'd love both Everton and Leeds to stay up. Let's keep on fighting. Yeah, I mean, Everton have turned it round a little bit, haven't they? I mean, that result at Brighton was unbelievable. So the relegation picture today, obviously, like we were speaking about earlier, Everton are playing City today, which you would expect is going to go City's way. But Pep Guardiola has come out the other week and said this is the hardest game in their running, which I think is a massive compliment to Everton. And what Everton do is they make Goodison an absolute fortress. And yeah, I can see it being narrow, I'll be honest. I could be wrong, but I could see it being narrow. I think it could be a 1-0 City win. I don't think Everton are an unbelievable side, but I think everyone's going to be up for it at Goodison today, especially after a 5-1 win at Brighton. So that, and Guardiola knows that. And for Guardiola to come out and say this is the hardest game in the Premier League running, when they've still got some, decent games left, with the position that Everton are in. It's a massive compliment. So yeah, I think Guardiola knows as well like what Goodison can be like. So good. I think Everton have still got what Wolves and Bournemouth left. Is it? I mean, there's got to be some points in that for Everton, and we have to beat West Ham and get something against Spurs. I think Forest. I think that result at Liverpool, I said it at the time and got laughed out the building by a few people because they still lost the game. But I think that result against Liverpool when they lost 3-2, but it was a real valiant effort. I think that bred a lot of confidence for Forest, to be honest with you. And I think since then it's either been tight losses or they've picked up some decent points and wins and stuff like that. Against Brighton, obviously, yesterday against Chelsea. I watched that game against Chelsea yesterday and Forest were really unlucky. I thought Chelsea were absolutely appalling, but Forest were unlucky. And you know, once again, you look at us yesterday, we were unlucky, I thought. So it's going to be an absolute dogfight till the end. I'm just not sure we've got enough. I'm not sure we've got enough. I used to look last season and think, I actually thought Burnley would stay up, and Burnley was 17th, you know, the last day of play. Leeds were in the bottom three. I did not see us going down to Brentford and getting anything. Thank God for Rafinha. But we don't have a Rafinha this season, unfortunately. We don't have a Rafinha. And the Rafinha replacement in Sinistera, who you'd be more confident, obviously, if he was in the starting 11, seems to just be, obviously, like Christopher said before, injured all the time. So I hope I'm wrong. Of course I do. But I just don't know if we've got enough match winners and enough players to keep oppositions out at the back. You know, it feels like every single time Leeds play, they're going to concede at least 2 goals. I think we're averaging, is it 2.6 or 2.7 goals a game? So we're having to score goals. So yeah, someone just said as well, if Everton win today, we're down. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Everton win today, I think Leeds are down. That is the nuts and the nuts and bolts of it, really. If Everton win, I mean, who have Everton got next week? Let's have a quick look. Everton fixtures. I think it is. It's Wolves away, which is a more than winnable game. It's a more than winnable game. Then they've got Bournemouth at home. So if they get City out of the way, you've got Wolves away, who are very up and down, and then you've got Bournemouth at home. You know, who got beat yesterday pretty comprehensively by Palace. I don't think Bournemouth touched the ball. So they're on the beach. You've got 2 teams there who are on the beach. So I still think, you know, the thing Leeds need to do is drag Forest in, but I just don't, on 34 points. Forest fixtures as well. Let's have a quick look. Forest fixtures. Arsenal away, which they're not going to win. And Crystal Palace away. They are 2 tough games, but I think Forest last 2. I think the win against Southampton and the draw against Chelsea, that 4 points in 6 games is big. But I think the ones to watch are Forest. I'm not sure Everton. I don't think Everton will go down, everyone. I don't. I really don't. So I think it's Forest. I think it's Forest or us. So, you know, Forest get beat by Arsenal and then we beat West Ham. We go above Forest because we've got a better goal difference. And then it comes to the last day. Leeds with Spurs at home. Forest with Palace away, which is a tricky game. It is a tricky game. You know, it's a flip of the coin who's got the toughest game there. But I think a lot of people do write Spurs off. But Spurs have still got Harry Kane. They've still got Heung-min Son. They've still got Kulusevski. They've still got Richarlison. I know Richarlison's not been doing great, but and Spurs haven't won in 9 away games. Spurs haven't won in 9 away games. Oh dear. We know this story, don't we, Leeds fans? So hopefully Moisey plays the kids next weekend. Yeah, I agree. Dermot Coombs, it's between us and Forest. We beat West Ham and Forest lose. It's back in our own hands. That is it. That's it. You know, I think that's key to talk about, really. And I think that's the positive thing to take out of it. That's the positive thing to take out of it. It's between Leeds and Forest because we this is why goal difference is massive. That's why I've never understood people going, goal difference doesn't mean a thing. Of course it means a thing. It's an extra point. Because if you both land on the same points, then that other team's staying up if they've got a better, superior goal difference to you. I've never understood that. But yeah, but for me, it's still between us and Forest. Leeds win next weekend. Forest lose. It's back in our hands going into the last game of the season against Tottenham at home. who've got a bad record, but yeah, they can't do anything about. Then Forest can't do it. If we win our last 2 games, and Forest obviously drop points against Arsenal, then it's we stay up, don't we? Just do you see Leeds doing that? Yeah. So you think Leicester are definitely down? I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think Leicester's running's tough. I do think it's between us and Forest. I do. I think Leicester have got a lot of quality. I do think that. But I think if you actually look at Leicester's games, so if we'll just have a quick look at Leicester's fixtures. So tomorrow they've got Liverpool at home. 2 days after. 2 days after. Then they've got West Ham at home. Have they got West Ham? No, they haven't. Apologies. I'm doing it again. So they've got Liverpool at home. Then they've got Newcastle away. And last day of the season, they've got West Ham at home. So, yeah. Nick says, it's over, Connor. We can't win a game and we need to win. Yeah. Steve says, we need the West Ham Euro semi-final to go to extra time and pens. Get them playing as late as possible on Thursday before they play us 1:30 on Sunday. You're bang on, Steve. You are bang on, mate. And then the problem is I don't think the final falls in the week after, if that makes sense. So I don't think they'd they're not going to play the kids in against Leeds to then, play. Is the final going to be in 2 weeks' time or whatever, or 3 weeks' time? I'm not 100% sure. Ken, thank you so much, mate. Thank you. Really appreciate that one. Everton are no way out of it. Yeah, I don't think they are, Phil. They're not out of it at all. I just think games against Wolves away, bearing in mind they've just come off the back of Everton had the worst away record in the division. They've just come off of a 5-1 win at Brighton. I think they might have enough to get something at Wolves, who are very up and down, massively up and down at the minute. And then you've got the last day of the season, Bournemouth at home. I think if that's Leeds, we're turning around and going, yeah, we're staying up. I think all of you are saying, yeah, we're staying up, if that's our last 2, to be honest. Leicester model ain't looking too good now. Wolves have a great home record. Brighton did as well, mate. Brighton had an excellent home record. It's weird things. It's weird things in football. Connor, have we seen the last of Firpo now? I've been impressed with Junior, I have. I've been really impressed with how he's gone about things in the, especially under Grazia. And I know we didn't look great under Grazia, but I thought Firpo definitely improved, and we've seen improvements from him, but that you've seen a boneheadedness for me come back in the last 3-ish games. Yesterday was just... This is what I'm saying. You can blame Bamford for everything, but what's Verba doing for the first tackle? Everyone, and everybody, because it's Verba, and he's been decent for Leeds, quite rightly so. A little bit more credit in the bank, but nobody lays the door at him. That is the most boneheaded tackle one of the most boneheaded tackles I've ever seen. The commentators, I think it was Lucy Ward and was it Fletcher? I can't remember. We're just like, why has he done that? What on earth was that? It just absolutely cleans out. I can't remember if it was Joe Willock or whoever else it was. Just cleans them out, and you're like, what? And that's the mentality thing with this Leeds side. It really is. So yeah. Southampton, Everton, and us or Leicester down. Everton won't win another game. Wow, dodge projects. Fair enough. Fraser says, a draw against a team near the top of the Premier League, which could have been a win without individual errors, suggests we can beat West Ham. Yeah, it does, Fraser. I guess it's just that win needs to come, doesn't it, mate? If we are conceding the amount of goals, which we are per game, and we have this mentality where, Leeds give up goals very, very easily and sloppily. On the average, West Ham are going to score a goal against us, aren't they? Or 2 goals against us. So Leeds are going to have to surpass that and score more goals, obviously, because we need to win the game. It's not about drawing. I don't want people to come away from next week telling me that a point's enough, It's not enough. We need to go to West Ham and win. At some point, Leeds have to win a game, everyone. The mentality, the expectations have to rise a modicum. They can't just be always on the floor. You can't just keep saying, unfortunately, we can't draw our way to victory. We are on 31 points. when Everton get destroyed by City, it's over for them. Look, I'm not here. I'm not here support like saying, oh, Everton are this, Everton are that. I'm not. You're looking at that running and you're thinking to yourself, you got Wolves at home. Sorry, Wolves away and Bournemouth at home away. Wolves away, Bournemouth at home. I don't understand how they're done after City, unless you're confident in Leeds scoring and winning games, which is obviously fair enough. Realistically, the opportunities conceded that West Ham was the pens. Other than that, they had nothing in open play. I'd agree. Yep, I'd agree, Chemical. You're not wrong. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this stream. Give us a like. We've been on for 40 minutes now, so you can go back and watch it all again. A little bit of a Sunday supplement. Please make sure you're liking the video. We're going to have either the debrief or Generation Leeds coming to you tomorrow. I'm actually going to bring Generation Leeds to the YouTube account, I think, if the old man can do it, on Monday night. Debrief might be a bit difficult this week, but I'll see what strings I can pull. Make sure you're still tuned in, and let's hope for a City win today, shall we? Have a good Sunday, everyone. Make sure you're with your loved ones, having a good one, and I will see you in a bit. Cheers.